Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So a little fun fact before I start talking. I did two public speaking before. So the first one, I was the youngest one speaking. I had to talk about the exposure of cryptocurrencies to Ukraine and Russia conflict. So it's kind of hard. And then this one, I have to do it in English, and I have to talk about the macro scope of cryptocurrencies. So please bear with me. Before starting to talk where crypto stands today, I would like to go back a little bit and talk about how it all started. So I will not do the whole history of how Bitcoin was created, why it was created, but what we have to remember is it was during the 2008 crash. So it was created as a peer-to-peer electronic cash. So you could basically send everyone some Bitcoin, and it was basically a transfer of value. But then with this creation of Bitcoin came some other features as well. So we had a limited number of Bitcoin, for example, which brought in people for various reasons. One of the reasons was that there could be only 21 million Bitcoins. So there is a limited number of Bitcoins. The number of Bitcoin is divided by 2 every 4 years. So it took this narrative of something deflationary, something that could be used to fight against inflation, or could be an example of digital gold, the protective asset we've had for years now. And then Ethereum came in, which was more of a programmable asset. So you could do some applications with it. You could do DeFi. You could do NFTs. So it was another use case for cryptocurrencies. And these narratives of digital gold, of financial freedom, could have been true 8 years ago, 10 years ago. But today, it's not the same anymore. Today, something else matters, and this is what we'll talk about. If we look at the current market, the inflation in Europe is from 8 to 10%, roughly, and Bitcoin is down 75 to 80%, so it wasn't a good investment to put it into Bitcoin if you wanted to fight against inflation. So Ethereum and other altcoins and other cryptocurrencies are down like from 80 to 90%. So it was even a worse investment if you wanted to really fight inflation with it. And so these narratives that I've talked about, like digital gold or reserve currency, are kind of falling apart in the current market. But we have to go back just a little bit before we talk about how it all started. So in 2020, COVID hit, and cryptocurrencies took a huge hit from it. So Bitcoin went 60% down in one day, but it was unprecedented. It was not a financial crisis. It was not inflation. It was not something that was caused by governments. It was medical condition. It was a health crisis. So we could not expect something out of Bitcoin for this one. And so from 2020 to 2021, basically it was really easy to invest into Bitcoin because everything was going up. Every single market, was it real estate, was it cryptocurrencies, was it the stock market? Basically, wherever you put your money, you would make money out of it. And so also the other thing that we have to consider is that from 2020 to 2021, governments were printing money. So for those who know, the printer goes brr meme. Basically, it was governments injecting money into the economy just to keep it alive. And so people were stuck home with excessive money because we had stimulus checks, we had lots of help from the governments, and people were bored. So at first, the TikTok thing happened where people were just dancing at their homes, but then some other people started to look around to put their money somewhere because they had this excess of money, they didn't know what to do with it. So at this time, some experts of blockchain, cryptocurrencies popped on TikTok, on LinkedIn. Then you had the metaverse experts, and then you had all these people claiming to be the next big thing, the next Bitcoin, the next Ethereum. So something that would bring you a lot of money, something that would make you rich and financially independent, which was pretty bad to look at it. So everyone was getting rich. And then at some point during this crisis, during these 2 years, even investing in dog coins or even SafeMoon it sounded like a kind of good investment because, you know, it will go to the moon, it will be safe, it's all right, you won't lose any money on it. So lots of people started pouring their money into cryptocurrencies, seeing that as a potential opportunity and still keeping these narratives of something which is decentralized, something which is not governed by any third parties, or which is basically owned by the community and made for the people. And so after the retail people got in, then we had companies getting in. So we had Tesla, we had MicroStrategy, we had many other companies. Then we had countries like El Salvador, and then we had talks about Bitcoin in some other South American countries as well. And so at this point, it was really easy to make money, as I said, and the traditional traders, or as people used to call them, boomers, were really getting angry at these millennials making thousands of dollars out of their investment, which was basically meme coins or some cryptocurrencies that didn't have any value. And so after 2021 ended, at this point, it wasn't going so good. So the first thing that happened was the quantitative easing. So basically, Fed or ECB stopped buying things with their treasuries. And so they said, well, we did enough for the economy. Now we are in a pretty bad place, so we'll stop it. Then the Ukraine and Russia crisis happened, so the war started. And this brought markets even lower. So we have the price for oil, which went up really badly, and it raised the prices overall, the prices of production, the prices of living, the cost of living. And during the Ukraine and Russia war, this was the first time that cryptocurrency gained so much visibility around the public. So it was really easy for people who were trying to flee the country, for example, to bring their keys with them. So you only have to remember 12 words, and you can cross the border without having any money with you. And then once you cross the border, you still have your words with you, and so you can still exchange your cryptocurrency for money to live. For example, it's much harder to cross the border with lingots of gold in your suitcase. So it was one of the first times where cryptocurrency actually had this exposure and where we saw the utility that was brought by cryptocurrencies. But then nothing went in a good way for cryptocurrencies, because we had this narrative once again, but then it was brought down by the Fed again by rising rates, and we have no money on the markets at the moment. No one is investing anymore because we're in a really bad place. It's really hard to make money on the markets today. And so all these narratives brought this protective asset, this digital gold, to something which was only a volatile, a risky investment, where you could basically compare the chart of NASDAQ and the chart of Bitcoin, and then multiply by 5 the volatility, and then you will get the price of Bitcoin comparing to NASDAQ. And so this is where you start to realize that these narratives that have been created, they do not matter as much as the macro environment anymore. So you have to look into geopolitics. You have to look at the decisions by institutional investors. You have to look at what governments think about cryptocurrencies. And so all this downturn brought many projects down. So we had the Luna and UST crisis. We have the 3 Arrows Capital, which is going on, Celsius, BlockFi. We have Coinbase, which laid off 20% of their staff, where they were promised if they leave their Web2 companies to come and work for Web3, they would get rich and they would make an impact. But now they are basically firing all these people. And right now, it doesn't seem so cool to have your Bored Ape as a profile picture anymore. Now that's not worth millions, but only a few tens of thousands of dollars, right? So I know I've gone hard and a little bit harsh on cryptocurrencies, but I really like crypto. I believe in it, and I want to spend my life working with it in this field. So I will talk about some positive aspects a little bit. So one of the things that we have to remember is why Bitcoin has been created. So it was a transfer of value. And amid all this crisis, Bitcoin has always functioned. It had no downtime. You could still buy Bitcoin, send it to anywhere in the world for little fees, and then basically transfer your value. So the promises that were made by the Bitcoin in the beginning were kept regardless of the price, because the price doesn't really matter. Today, Bitcoin's price matters because it's seen as an investment, because people really want to perform with it. And so in these cycles, as we call them, so we have the bull run and the bear market. I guess we're in the bear market now, so sorry to bring it to you guys. But in these crises, the thing that we have to see is that the strongest projects will keep on building and will still be here, while the bad players will get eliminated from these markets. And we have these cycles that repeat themselves, and we had this theory of a super cycle, which was brought by 3 Arrows Capital CEO which was basically, well, you will not lose any money because the adoption will bring the Bitcoin to $2.5 million. That was his guess. And the 3 Arrows Capital, so this guy who was talking about it, well, basically it went to zero right now, and they have $1.5 billion in liabilities, so they will probably not be able to pay back. And so during these things which happen around us, what do we have to focus on to be able to perform, and what should we be able to do during these hard times? Well, the first thing that you have to focus on, and this is what my talk is about, are the macro perspectives. The macro perspectives are really important during these markets because as Bitcoin grew as an industry, as cryptocurrencies grew as industries, we had more actors coming in, we had traditional finance guys, we had countries, we had companies. So these guys are the ones who will dictate where the Bitcoin will go. So it's not enough anymore to just look at the Bitcoin price and see, well, I can put my money into that. You have to focus on a bigger picture. You have to see what's happening around the world to make better decisions and to make better trades if you want to make money. Also, during these times, it's also a good point to start and understand crypto. Because during the bull market, you have thousands of projects being created every day. And you cannot follow up with all of them. You have innovations which are created every day. But during the bear market, this project slow down, we have less projects, and you have more time to understand what is actually going on. You can evaluate your decisions better, and you can make better investment, basically. Also, I think for those people who have been on the markets during the last 2 years, 2020 and 2021, I guess it could be a good time to take some time off and just don't look at the charts every day and just enjoy your life, enjoy your benefits at some point. Because if you consistently trade during the bull market and the bear market, it will continuously affect your decisions during the next cycle. You will make worse decisions because you're frustrated with the decisions that you make that don't go through. So the good thing is to just take a step back, look at the market, look at what's important, but don't trade every day. I guess that's the advice I could give here. And also, you have to remember that lots of people who are around you know way more than you do. So during these times when they are not overwhelmed with interviews, with people just constantly contacting them, you can just reach out to them with your questions, try to learn a little bit more, because these people will be the ones who will actually make an impact for you. And the thing is, during these hard times that we are experiencing, crypto winter as we call it, these are hard times, but people tend to learn through hard times. And they tend to get smarter thanks to this thing. So I'm hopeful towards the future of crypto, and I think it will go on, and I think it will perform better in the future. We have these lessons which are learned because we have this cult of personality going in crypto. And if we think about it, today we have the CEOs of big companies, we have projects, we have so many things which are idealized, where people put their money without even thinking. So if one of the guys who made the protocol made you rich, he creates a Ponzi coin like Elon 69 rocket or whatever, you'll put your money in it because this guy has made you rich before. And what you have to understand is that these people do it for their own sake, for their own business, for their own profit. But you are not right if you put your money into that. The market is always right. So if you don't do your research, if what you believe into won't work, then you just have to refocus and rethink about your decisions that you are taking. And so I guess I'm nearly done. So I'm here on behalf of Oak Invest, which is the company we have created with my friends. And our goal was to focus on different areas of investment. So we do not only talk about crypto. I'm focused on the crypto part, but we also talk about real estate. We also talk about stocks. We also talk about the real economy, the geopolitics. And we are trying to make people understand the world in a better way, because as I said before, today it's not enough to only understand the crypto market. You have to focus on the bigger picture, and by focusing on the bigger picture, you'll make better decisions and you'll better understand what is going on around you. And so today you have lots of free resources from which you can learn. You have different media companies, you have different social media accounts, you have Twitter, which is overwhelmed with free resources for cryptocurrency, basically. And I guess the thing is that we have to understand, that we have to be hopeful about, is that Bitcoin is not 10 dudes just mining Bitcoin in their garage with their miners. Hello. And I guess it's become a much broader industry. It's become bigger and bigger, and it will become bigger. We'll get more people into that. And as it grows, you will have to focus on something that does not only involve crypto. You have to think on a global scale. And I think this is the most important thing, because as you see today, if crypto was an independent asset during the times that we have, like we have now with the inflation and the Fed raising rates and basically people are struggling to live, Bitcoin should perform better, but it has actually underperformed every single asset on the market, besides like the altcoins and Ethereum and other ones. So these narratives that we build around Bitcoin, they are not necessarily true. If we think about the utility of Bitcoin, it has always been there, it will always stay there. But the narratives that people who have invested money into that create, these are not the same as the utility of Bitcoin, and we have to realize that. And so, as I said, I guess the best thing right now is to trade a little less than you did before and focus on the bigger picture, and it will allow you to perform better. Thank you.
Thank you, Artem.